This is the GPW-2000 Gravitymaster. At the moment there isn't a decent tutorial on it, but I understand why, because it is very complex. So what I've done, I've put some paper and words together and I've written something, but I wasn't happy, it wasn't working out very well, so I decided I needed to print something a bit better like this, but that wasn't working either. I decided to draw my own instructions. And here are my instructions in PDF format. And if you look in the description, you'll find the link so you can download these for free. So what I would do is get that downloading underway and be ready for the next maybe hour, 2 hours, a month. And I'm going to cover everything you need to know. I'm not going to cover all the fine details. I think you need to do a little bit of work. And I've even included a Watcho 69 top tip. Now, this isn't a review of this GPW-2000 Gravitymaster. I would like to suggest another channel, StormRider, and he's done many videos on his and he's shown all the details. So let's just leave that side to him and focus on this side about the tutorial. Now, I've decided to do this video very differently. I've decided I'm actually going to make it like a live video. So you're going to get all my slapping lips, the cuckoos in the background, and all the other little things that come with live videos. And I've put together an instruction manual to make this really easy. Also, it helps me because I'm going to get lost otherwise, and you are going to get confused and it won't have any interest to you. So what do? We're just going to start off with the instruction manual, and I've got it set up on the iPad here, and I might do a little bit of editing and get this all on the display so it all looks sort of pleasing on the eye. So here we go, starting from 1 to 28 points, and this is over 17 pages. This is downloadable and the link is found in the description. You'll also find some time links or timestamps in the description. And before I go any further, this watch was supplied by Watcho and it was my second Master of G, so I just want to give you guys a little thank you and a shout out like I always do. So let's start off from the very first line here. I should use my little pointer, and first we have the watch connections, and that's automatic connections as well, so that's Bluetooth, multiband 6 and GPS. Then I want to cover the power saving, I want to cover the dial layout, I have the button layout, and also I want to cover all the dial icons. This is very important. Then the crown positions, then there's home time button operations, then there's the dedicated UTC button, you have the airplane mode, you have hand and dial calibration, Bluetooth reset, delete pairing, adjust home city, add in custom home city code, resetting custom city code from UTC. I thought this is a really good one because it doesn't really explain it enough in the manual. And talking of the manual, I have left the little link in the description. So moving on is the world time. There's 29 city codes in the watch. Then there's world time swap, so that's from world time to home time, from home time back to world time. Then I want to cover the mode, which is stopwatch, timer and alarm. Then most importantly, or second most importantly, is the Bluetooth connection to the app. Then there's a view guide, in-app tour of how the watch functions. Then there's the WorldTime app, and it has up to 300 cities. Then you have the utility. Then you have the flight log. Then you have settings. From settings you have delete pairing in app, and then you have adjust time and date manually. So on menu 1 is the watch connections and the automatic connections. So there's Bluetooth, and this automatically syncs from the time of 12:30 a.m. and it will sync 4 times, and that is every 6 hours, and I've put the times there. There is the multi-band band 6, which is the atomic syncing, and this syncs from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. and the second hand points to the RC when syncing, and this will all come relevant later on in this video. Then there's a GPS manual sync, and this can be done at any time near a window or outside. Then you have the GPS automatic sync. If no Bluetooth or multi-band 6 was unsuccessful, then the following day, with the watch continuously in bright lighting for 2 minutes between the hours of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m, then the GPS will attempt to sync. So I do apologize for my reading. I am dyslexic, believe it or not. I've also covered a section here about the power saving. Leaving the watch in a dark location for about 1 hour between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. will cause the second hand to stop, and this will enter into a level 1 power save. And if the watch is left in this condition for 6 to 7 days, all hands will stop and the watch enter a level 2 power saving. So level 1 power saving is basic timekeeping functions are operational, and then level 2 only the day indicator is operational. And then I've also put a little low power side here, so when it's on low power, the second hand will double click or double jump. Let's just do a little bit of zoom onto that. There you can see that. And if the battery goes completely dead, then all hands and the day indicator stop. And I would recommend to get that into some bright sunny sunshine and give it a really good charge. Now the next one of part 3 here is the dial layout, and yes, it is quite confusing here. And what I've done, I've color coded everything. So first one is in red, and this is the hour hand plus the 24-hour sub-dial. So here is the 24-hour sub-dial, hour hand here, and these two are connected. The hour hand also displays the year. Then you have the minute hand, which displays the year as well. Then you have the second hand. This shows the connection, alarm, and the city code. Then you have the latitude hand in green, which is over here. This shows you the battery status, daylight saving time, P&N, which I'll come back to, and it also covers the airplane icon there. Then there's the longitude dial, which is down the bottom here, and this also covers the modes, coordinates, and the UTC. Then there's the world time, which covers the stopwatch, timer, alarm, plus it has a PM and AM dial, and there it is. So that's for the world time. And then you have a little dial here, which I have done a little thing here. Just going to show you that this dial here is tiny, and it's split between A and P, and these two are connected. So moving over here, I've done another little zoom onto this part so you can really follow. So the 24-hour sub-dial connected with the WorldTime sub-dial. So A covers these times from midnight till that time in the morning, and then the P covers from midday to almost at midnight. And here you have the date, which is obvious, is right there, and this also covers the home time and covers the world time as well. I just want to put a little bit of technical data here, because I thought this is something I really enjoy, is that this watch is, because it's so complicated, it has 6 motors that drive this, and 2 of those motors are dual core. So basically you're looking at 8 motors that drive this. So very impressive indeed. Next is the button layout. So it's all set out here nice and easy, and I've color coded everything as well. There's 4 buttons starting with A up here. This is your UTC button, and this sets the world time back to UTC time. It also does P&N, and again I will come back to that. Then you have the backlight here at button B. This also does the world time swap. It does start, stop, and it changes the daylight saving time settings. Then there's the C button, which is the mode, And this also does the Bluetooth app connection and custom WorldTime. Again, I shall all come back to this. And then you have the connect button, which is D. This also does the Bluetooth sync, GPS sync, reset, flight log, and time adjustment. So now moving on, let's try and get this all on the one page. So this is number 5. This is to do with the icons. So I've covered the latitude icons and the dial icons, and just bringing the watch in basically. It's this dial here. This is the latitude dial, and then I'm going to cover all the information around this dial here. So here we go. So let's zoom this in a little bit more. This dial here is split into sort of in half, and this half here does the latitude side. So you have north, south, and then you have the degrees, with 0 being your equator. Then you have the airplane icon. You have the battery side here with high, medium, and low. Then here does the daylight saving time. So you have auto, you have that as standard, which is off, and then daylight saving time forced on. Then you have the location info, again back on this P and N, and I will come to that very shortly. It's on the next screen. Then actually on the main dial itself, you have the alarm icons here, which is on and off. Then you have the sync status, yes and no. Then you have the atomic multiband 6 side, which is RC, which is radio controlled. Then on this side, I've made a little mistake there, so I will edit that when you come to download it. This C stands for the Bluetooth, T stands for GPS time, and then T and P stands for GPS time and positioning, and it's all here, and I've just basically copied that from the manual, but I've split it into 2 halves so you can really sort of understand it more clearer. So if you want to have a little read through that, then you can understand a little bit more, but this tutorial will explain it. Before I go any further, there is probably a little bit of repeating in this video, but I thought with this sort of layout I've done, it's just easier just to watch the whole video in one turn, and then you can look at the timestamps and pick your way through at your own pace. And for those who don't like the way I talk, you can also fast forward it at 2 times the speed. Right, moving on to number 6 is the crown positions. Now this is really sort of something I want to focus on a little bit here, because it sort of makes the watch more understandable. So leaving the crown pulled out without performing any operations for 30 minutes will automatically disable the adjustments. Any adjustments made prior will be saved. Push the crown back in and pull out to refresh. So I thought I'd just cover that, because you might have left the crown out for those 30 minutes, come back to the watch and nothing's working. Well, at least you know it's gone into sort of like a little standby mode. And there it is with the crown. It is a screw down crown. So the watch is basically broken down into 2 parts. So pulling the crown out to the first position covers your world time, does the airplane mode on and off, and it also turns off the Bluetooth, which also disables the multiband 6 and the GPS. And then position 2 on the crown, which is fully pulled out, will adjust your home time. It will do the time and date adjustment and the calibration, and it will do the Bluetooth reset. So it's split into 2 halves. So basically, like on a conventional analog watch, when you pull the crown out to number 2 position, you can adjust the hands. So you've got to think of it like that. And first position is just nothing but your sort of world time side. And the tutorial will unfold and it will make things a lot easier. This is important. This is home time and this is button operation. So no crown operation in this. So I've really sort of split it down. Got a little menu here just to, because I've got so much information, I've had to sort of shorten some of the words. So lat will go for latitude and long will be for longitude. So let's start off. We've got the backlight, which is button B. And just to point out that backlight doesn't work when the hands are adjusting between modes, operating the stopwatch, timer, and adjusting alarm. And there is also no auto backlight available. So basically, if anything's moving, the hands are moving, you won't be able to get the backlight working. You have to wait till it's fully stopped. And there is button B there, and it is a lovely fade in and fade out, and sort of lasts about 4 seconds with the fade in and fade out. And the backlight on this is absolutely phenomenal. It's a proper torch, let's say. Next one is button D, and this is one of 4. So just bear with me because there is a lot of details here. So I need to go at a pace so that you can really follow. So button D does the sync status. So this is going to show you whatever the watch's condition is, what it's last received, whether it received a connection or not. So I'm just going to read and then you'll just follow. Pressing button D just the once, second hand points to either yes or no, then points to the city code. The latitude hand points to P and N. I'll come into that almost, and then it will show you the latitude and longitude, and that's if it's on a yes. If there's no sync available, then the second hand first points to N with the latitude hand pointed to P and N, and then back to timekeeping mode. And here we are. I've come finally to the P and N, and the P and N is down there. P basically says it's a time sync with location, so position, and then you have the N, which is time sync with no location. And so let's do a little test on this and give you a demonstration. So pushing button D, let's get that in shot here. So if I just give that a push just the once, the second hand has gone to yes, then it spins around, shows me my city code, and then the dials down here will move. So I've got my longitude down the bottom there, and this comes to the latitude. Now I'm going to have to do this again because when I push it, you'll notice that this tip here will point to P and N. So let's give that a go. See that pointing to P and N? It swings around again, shows you your city code, and the city code up here is London. Just get a bit of detail there, like that. And then it just sits there for a few moments and then goes back, or you can just press button D and it will return back to timekeeping mode. So it's just basically just to get a little status if you received a signal or not. Now I can show you what it looks like if the signal does fail. So just sort of ignore a little bit what I'm doing here. I'm just pulling the crown out to the second position, and it's going to point to London. And let me just offset that over here a little bit, then push the crown back in. Now the hands will adjust. Just ignore this. What I want to show you is when you push button D when you haven't had a signal, just to show you what happens. So by pressing button D now, it goes to no, then goes to P and N. It will just hold it there for a few seconds, and then it just goes back to regular timekeeping mode like that. So that's just to indicate. Now I do have this connected to my phone, so I'm just going to do a quick sync with it. And again, the tutorial will cover all this, but that's what I mean. I'm sort of going to be repeating myself a little bit. So I'm just going to make a quick sync here, and I will cover this as mentioned. Just going to wait a few moments, and that's going to make a sync. That should go to yes in a moment. I'm going to do this all live so you can really see how it all works. And the phone is next to me, it's on standby, and there it goes. And because it's gone back to London, it's adjusted the time and set my coordinates. So if you get a no, you don't get any of those coordinates. So let's just come back out of that, let it all settle down again. That'll come down to the date. It shows the dates there when it's in home time. So let's push button D. Now I've got my connection. It's now going to go to yes. It's going to spin around and go to London, and then it comes up with the coordinates, and then it shows the latitude up there like so. And then you could just leave that or just press button D and it just goes back to the home time like that. I hope you're sort of following. So the next one of 2 or 4 button D is the Bluetooth flight log and time adjustment sync. The phone can be in standby to take a flight log and a time adjustment. So when I pushed the button for those few seconds and you saw the second hand rest at C, that is what this was doing. So press button D for half a second only, and then you'll have the Bluetooth time, flight and log sync. So this will all go into the app now. The second hand points to yes or no, then points to C for your connection, and then latitude hand points to the P and N again, connects to Bluetooth with the device, Any adjustments made in the watch or app will be updated. So if you adjusted the timer and the alarm, this will be transferred into the app, and also vice versa. So if you've done any adjustments in the app, that will update the watch once you do this process. If the phone has been updated with a new time zone while traveling, it will update the watch automatically. So that's a really great feature. A location stamp will be added to the flight log, which is found in the app. So what do you have on the watch to see? You have the city code, you have latitude, longitude, you have the P&N shown, and that's all displayed. So basically what I do is just a half a second on button D, like that. It points to C, you release, and then you just wait for those few moments like I did before, and then the second hand will whiz up to the city code you are. So if your phone is set to another location, then this will adjust. Just a fantastic traveling watch. And now we've got a connection. So, and then it just goes to yes, and then it goes back to London, and now it's given me my coordinates. Let's move on to the next one, and this is 3 of 4, and this is a GPS time sync. So holding button D down now for 2.5 seconds, the second hand points to yes or no, then points to C, then finally points to T. Will perform a GPS time sync only, not location. If successful, second hand points to yes, with latitude hand pointing to P and N, and because it's not doing a location, it's not going to do the latitude and longitude. So let's bring the watch out again. So it's a long press of 2.5 seconds, waiting for that, and then it jumps and it's there, gone to T at the bottom. Just see that very fine, that T and P is next to it. You best sort of being near a window or outside. So in my light box, it's a hit or miss. This might work. If not, I shall pop outside and do a little video of it so it all matches and show you what it looks like. But in the light box, I'm just going to show you, sort of just give you an idea. That is trying to make a connection, and because it's only for the time, these are usually quicker, so it is taking a lot longer than normal. So I probably have to just revert back to the video that I'm going to be doing and making outside, and just post that instead. Oh, actually it has made it in my light box, so it's gone to yes, and then the hand here, the latitude hand, points to P and N, and then it just goes back to time. Because it hasn't done a location sync, it won't adjust the hand down here, the dial down here as well. I'm really impressed that actually worked in my light box. I'm quite a little bit away from the window as well. So the next one, 4 is again back on button D, is the GPS time and position sync. So time and position sync, so it's the same as 3 of 4, so with the button presses, but once the second hand points to T, press button D again and the second hand points to T and P. Time and location sync with latitude on north and the longitude searching side by side. If successful, second hand points to Y with the latitude hand pointing first to P and N, and then it will give you the city code, latitude, longitude is displayed. So I'm just going to try this quickly in the light box just so you get an idea, and then I'm going to run a video over the top to show you what it looks like when it's syncing. So it's a long press on button D for the 2.5 seconds, goes to C, goes to T, and then release, and then push again, and now that's on T and P. So what is actually happening here? Second hand will just remain on T and P, and then the longitude dial here will go all the way to westerly, and then it will go all the way to the easterly side, or west there and then east there. And because I'm in my light box, it has failed and gone straight to no. So if you look at this video here, you can see that the longitude hand goes back and forth, and then eventually it will find a signal and then start narrowing down the longitude hand, so it gets finer and finer till it's pinpointed to your location. Now if you have the watch completely messed up and you don't know where you are with the date, the time, the year, this is the best thing to do. Go outside, give that a good long press, T and P, and it would always find, it doesn't matter what city code you are in or what you have the watch set device to, your phone, this will just find that location and then update the watch. This is where the strength is really, really good, especially if you're in a location you haven't really a clue of what time zone it is, then that is the button you need to press. So moving on is button C, and this is the mode, and this is one of two. So the modes will include the stopwatch, timer and alarm, and it also features a quick return to home time. So it's pressing button C for 1 second, which sounds a double chirp, and then returns back to home time. And you can skip to the modes here to if you go straight to 17, but I'm going to continue. Then you have the Bluetooth app side, which is 2 of 2, which is button C on 2.5 seconds. Now I just need to do a demonstration of this one. I've a bit rude there, wasn't I? I sort of jumped the gun a bit. So this is in home time. You've got the world time, the date down there showing the day of the week is Wednesday. Then pressing the mode, just pressing once, then you see it moves that speed. It goes to the stopwatch, then pressing again, makes a chirp, it goes to timer. Ignore the little things that are spinning around for the moment. I will cover this, and then back to alarm, and then it goes back to home time. So let me just give you a demonstration of that shortcut back to home time. So I'm just going to press it once. This is the furthest one away. This is the stopwatch. So if you want to go back to home time, just press button C, makes the double chirp, and then returns back to home time like that, and then showing the day of the week. Nice and easy. So sorry about that. I did move on a bit too quickly, didn't I? Right, so let's go to the other one. 2 of 2. This is your Bluetooth app connection. So pressing button C for 2.5 seconds connects to the app. And then the second hand points to the 12 o'clock position and then points to C. And app needs to be open, and the second hand continuously points to C while connected. And then pressing any button will disconnect or close the app, or if the app is timed out. And instead of giving you a demo here, I'll wait till we'll go further down into the app, and then I'll show you how that connects. Now the next one is the UTC button. So the UTC button, how does it work? So you press button A for 1 second, and this swaps the world time to the UTC time, showing the UTC on the longitude dial down the bottom here. Now the button A does do some other things as well. It can also show you the P and N here, like that. You can have a little quick glance, but I will show you that later in the video. And also you can use it to stop the alarm and basically little things like that. But its main function is to put the world time into UTC in very quickly. So let me give you a demonstration. Just hold down the UTC button for a second. The second hand goes straight to UTC, and then that will come up with UTC there. Then the world time adjusts to the UTC time. That's all it does. Now for some of you, you might actually find that pretty pointless, but for me, because I am, well, pretty much on the UTC line, especially in the winter, it's always nice just to push that and to get that idea, because I know when summertime happens, so I can always advance it by 1 hour. But if I wanted the UTC time to be there on the world time, then it is a quick press. It does nothing else sort of pretty much than that. So might be a bit of a wasted button for some of you, but it's there and there's nothing really you can do about it. So let's just move on to number 9 and not sort of sulk about it. So next one is the airplane mode. This is how this works, is press button D, then pull the crown out to position 1. Second hand points to yes or no. Using crown, turn to yes or no. Once selected, push the crown fully back in, and then latitude hand points to the airplane mode, or which shows you the little icon, and that's only if you select it to N to no. So let's just do a demonstration of this. So let's press button D and then pull that out, and that goes to yes up the top there, and then by turning the crown I can select that either on or off like that. Okay, so let's have that on N, which is basically off, and push that, and now pointing to the airplane like that. normally that would be pointing to the battery level down there. So I will do it again, and then you can see what's actually happened. So button D, just a quick press, then pull the crown out, and then adjust the crown like that, push it back in, and then you can see the latitude dial is now pointing to H on the battery reserve. And that's it. That's all that does, and it's that easy. So moving on to number 10 is quite an important one, and this one I would recommend to do is actually the hand calibration. Now I've done it in a 5-step calibration, and this just makes sure that the whole dial and the sub-dials are all working perfectly. So number 1 is the hour, minute and second, and this will automatically calibrate, so no manual adjustments required. Basically, these hands here have sensors on them. They will automatically calibrate, so in any severe shocks, you will always have these hands perfectly aligned. So number 2, you have the WorldTime hands, 3 is the Longitude Sub-dial, then 4 is the Latitude hand, and then 5 is the date. So to calibrate the hour, minute and seconds is pull the crown to position 2 and then long press on button D for 5 seconds till it beeps. Then the second hand points to 12, then release. Main hands will align to 12 o'clock automatically, and as mentioned, this can't be adjusted manually. Pull the crown out to position 2 and then 5 seconds, okay, on button D. So that's the second beep on crown 2, then 5 seconds on button D, makes a chirp, goes to 12, and then release. There's an airplane flying over, and that could be your entertainment while this is calibrating. So what's happening? The minute hand is now going to go very slowly, and it will end up in sort of this position here, and then the hour hand will calibrate. Now, depending where you have the 24-hour dial, in this case it should just go around the once, whereas if it's on the other side it will go around twice. So just to let you know that nothing is broken when it's doing it. So it goes very, very slowly like this, and what it's going to do, it's just going to end all the hands, including the second hand, in the rocket o'clock position. And let's just play this out live so you can really see how it works. There it comes. And then that's it, aligned, and there's no adjustment at all. I can't do anything to that. That's all automatically done for you. Let's go to number 2, and this is the WorldTime hands. So press button C, main hand sweep to the 2 o'clock position, turn crown to align hands to the 12 o'clock position. So here we go, that's all aligned. Now press button C, the hands go to 2 o'clock, and now the WorldTime is set. Now you have to pay attention that the PM, the little tiny PM dial there, just get the focus there, that is aligned as well, but because they're geared together you can't really go wrong. But if you do sort of fine adjustments like this, you'll see that you can go back and forth. You can also do faster adjustments if you get this. Oh, there it goes. It's a couple of turns quickly, and then it goes, and it's a bit fiddly behind the camera because I've got the viewfinder, but you can go backwards. It's just turning the crown 3 times, and if you turn it again another 3 times it goes faster, but going forward is actually faster. So I'm just going to fine tune that just so you get to see this live and see how it works. So let's get that lined up. I'm hoping that is lined up, otherwise I'm going to look an idiot. So let's move on. So that is aligned. So number 3 will be the longitude dial. So you press C and then you can turn the crown, and this is to align the 0 at the 6 o'clock position. Pressing button C here, and you'll see the longitude dial move, and that is what you want. You want to have the 0 absolutely bang on there, and then say using the crown you can go clockwise and anti-clockwise to adjust. So I'm going to leave that. I don't need to give a demonstration of that. And then the next one, the latitude hand, we've just done the longitude. So press button C and turn the crown to adjust, and this needs to point to the 12 o'clock position. So it's the latitude dial up here. So pressing button C and it aligns, and it's already aligned to the 12 o'clock. But I'm just going to give you a demonstration here just to show you what it looks like when you're calibrating. and it goes like that. So you just want to get it pointing to north like that. Now I can go to the next one, which is the date. Now press button C, date forwards with the latitude hand turning, and once stop, turn the crown to align 1, and 1 is used as a center of calibration. Now this is going to take a little while to do because the date at the moment is on the 14th, which means it's going to have to go fast forward to the 1st. But I will give you a demonstration, pressing button C, and there it goes. It's going to start spinning around the latitude like that, and then that is going to look for number 1. Don't really want to play this out because it can take several minutes for that to happen. So just by magic, I'm just going to fast forward this bit. I just want to point out, when the crown is unscrewed, you actually get a little bit of orange shown, so you know that it isn't screwed in. So I thought that was kind of nice. I forgot to sort of mention that. Where we are now at the date, we're on 27, and that is as fast as it goes. And if you're going backwards, it's even slower. So you have to have a little bit of patience for this, but then again, you're sort of not doing this all the time. So shall we just play this out? It's on 29, maybe. A bit painful, isn't it? I can fast forward this bit. Right, now, here it comes. Almost there. Just going to stop on the number 1. And now you can use the crown to fine tune it and get that number 1 really centered. But actually, I've never really had to bother because it's always perfect. So what do we have next? By pressing button C, we'll cycle through 2, 3, 4 and 5. You won't go through 1 because that is automatic. Again, with a slight movement to either the hands or the dial when selected, and then pushing in the crown at any time returns back to home time and saves any adjustments made at the time. So let's have a little play with button C and see what happens. So that was the last adjustment, button C. You can see the world time just notched, then the longitude dial, then the latitude dial. That should do again like so. So should we just do that again so you can see? Watch the world time, boom. Then the longitude does that, and then the latitude hand, then the latitude hand for the date like that, and then just push the crown in. And that is all calibrated. Very cool. There it goes, all whirring around. It's fantastic. Very hypnotic. Let's save. Right, let's move on. Right, number 11, Bluetooth reset. Now, this possibly could be another one you should do at the beginning. So, Bluetooth reset and then a hand calibration, then you're really probably good to go. So how does the reset work? You pull the crown to position 2, long press on button D for 10 seconds. Second hand will point to the city code, then 12 o'clock position with a beep. Then the second hand points to C with a double beep, and then you release. Second hand returns to pointing to city code, and the Bluetooth is reset. Now, did you get that? Well, let's have a little bit of a demonstration. So pull the crown to second position. I like that it beeps for every crown position, and then push button D for 10 seconds. So there it is on the city code. Then it goes to 12 o'clock, and then it should go to C and then release. And that is now reset. And then the second hand goes back to the city code. So let's see what happens next. Here we go. I'll put some options once the Bluetooth has been reset. So the city code, turning the crown adjusts the city code using the second hand. You can also do the daylight saving side as well. So let's just do one at a time. So the city code, let's adjust that with the crown. Just ignore what's happening because things will move on the dial because of the hands. The hour and minute hand want to calibrate to the new city code like so. But I will show you how all this works later in the tutorial I have here. So that's how you, so you can just adjust it. So if you've bought this, bought this watch from Australia down in Sydney, and you're in the UK, then if you do a Bluetooth reset, you can reset your watch back to the location. Well, in this case it's London. So let's move on. What do we get next? We get the daylight saving time. So pressing button B shows the daylight saving time, and there's the options. Holding down button B will adjust the daylight saving times, and then you can repeat to select another daylight saving time. So let's give you an example. So we're going to be pressing button B, which is the backlight, and you want to look at the latitude dial here, and then when I give it a quick press, it just points over and then comes back over. So that's on auto. So if I hold the button B down for a few seconds, it skips to the next one and then returns, and you can see that the daylight saving went back because that is off. And if I pressed again, that will be daylight saving time forced on. And then if I just have a quick look, you see that's in that position, and if you hold it down for a few seconds, then it goes to the auto daylight saving time like that. Very, very cool. Now there is a custom city code, so after the Bluetooth is reset and the second hand points to the city code, there is an option of pressing C. So let's get to that stage there. So crown is in on all the way. Let's pull the crown second position and say we're going to reset that Bluetooth again. So just wait for that to go to 12. It's already come off of the city code. Then it goes to C, and then that's reset, and then that's back to that state there. So what do we need to do? So after the Bluetooth is reset, the second hand points to the city code. Press button C for 1 second to select a custom city setting, with the second hand now pointing to the dot, which is next to the RC, and then turning the crown. When on custom city setting or city code setting, will advance the main hands in 15-minute intervals. Now the daylight saving time can be adjusted by holding down button B like it did up here. So what do? I hold button C down here just for that second there, and then the second hand goes all the way down. You can just see if I can get that in there in shot there. There's the dot there, and it's between those there. There's quite a gap there, and then RC is laying there. You can see that's actually sort of pointing to RC, but there is the dot. If I turn the crown, it's not going to adjust the second hand anymore. It's just going to adjust the time. So let's give it a go. So one click, there it goes. Another click. And there, it's doing it in 15-minute intervals like that. Now you can do a faster click, I think. Let's give it a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It does work like that. And then you just press any button. You can just stop that or turn in the crown. See, it's a little bit slower when going backwards. So what do we do next? We have the daylight saving times. Again, we can change that using button B. Quick press, and it just goes to the auto there. And again, if I just long press, I can do all the adjustments there. Now note, while the custom city code is selected, the second hand cannot be moved. Only the hour and minute hands, which we've just seen, can be adjusted in the 15-minute increment. To select another city code, push the crown fully in and then pull it out again to position 2. Now the second hand can be moved to a city code. So shall we just try that just to show you? So at the moment, if I just turn the dial, that's just going to move the hands. Let's push that back in like that. And then we give that a pull. We are all the way out. There we go. So it's the second position, and then it's on the dot there. And if I turn the crown, it goes straight into the city codes like that. And note that you can't go back to that dot by accident. Just skips past. If I do a second click on the button C, it automatically goes to the dot like that. So you can just do that at any time. Now I can adjust the hands by 15 minutes like that, but to come out of that I'll have to go back in. It goes from there, and then I can go back and choose my city code, which is London. Should be up there. There it is. And then push the crown, and then everything goes back to that London city time. That's very good. So that's straight after Bluetooth. So the next one is the adjusting the home city code. So it's pull the crown out to position 2, like I've just pretty much done. Turn crown using second hand to point to one of the 29 city codes. And note, second hand will skip the city code with the dot. We've just covered that. And then you have the daylight saving again, sort of as mentioned before. I will sort of be repeating myself. Short press on button B will show the daylight saving time setting using the latitude hand, and then press and hold down button B for 2 seconds to select a daylight saving time. Repeat to select another setting. So I did all this before, and there, just to mark it out, that's what it looks like. Get a bit of zoom onto there. You can see it has AT, that's auto. That's off and that's on. Let's just sort of run that through, because if you're not watching the whole video, then you've probably just skipped to this part and going to get confused. So that the crown is pushed in. So first beep, second beep, that is my home city, and then press button B and I can select the daylight saving like that. Now you can press another button, but I want to follow the instructions and really sort of give you the ultimate tour guide. So moving on to lucky 13 here. Now adding a custom home city code, which is 15 minutes increasements. Again, sort of repeating myself. Pull crown to position 2 and press button C. Second hand will point to the between the city codes of HNL and WLG using a dot with the RC. We've done this. Turning the crown will advance the main hands by 15-minute increasements. And just to note that the daylight saving time cannot be selected in the custom city code setting when UTC is selected. You cannot select the custom city code pressing button C either. This will need to be reset. So this is where I come down later with resetting the UTC, so you can really understand what's going on. So at the moment I can select any city code like that, or if I wanted a custom one, press button C there for a few seconds and then it goes to the dot. Now if I want to come back out of that, I have to push the crown back in and then pull the crown back second position, and now I can adjust the city code again, otherwise it would just stay there. So let's give me a demonstration. Let's set this on the UTC like that. Just push the crown. That is now the UTC as my home time. So if I pull the crown out to there, that's UTC. So let's press the button B here. And yes, I was right. There is no daylight saving time. Why would there? Because that is the center of the universe. And then pressing button C here to try and get it onto the custom city code doesn't work either. So how do you get out of that? Well, here we are. This is where I come into action. Let's get that straight again. Like that, I've knocked it out of place. I got too excited. 14, resetting the custom city code from UTC, and that's where I'm at the moment. So pull crown to position 2 and select any city code except UTC using the crown. Then press button C 1 second, and then the second hand points to the custom city code. So let's just start from scratch. We go in, then I'm going to pull the crown to second position. It's stuck on there, but I can shift. There we go. I'm just going to shift it to London and then press button C, and there it goes straight to the custom city code like that. So there is the options, and I hope you understand that. Next one is the world time. So the world time has 29 time zones plus the 1 custom city code, which you saw. Just to mention that in the app you do have 300 plus. So you pull the crowns. This is the world time, remember. So we're going to pull the crown to position 1. Second hand points to the city code, then turn the crown to select the city code. The world time dial adjusts using the PM and AM sub-dial along with the latitude and the longitude dials once city code is selected. If the timeline is crossed, then the date will advance. So let's just do this. So this is in home time. Crown is fully pushed in, going to the first position, and it's gone to UTC because that's when I reset it to UTC. So let's give you a demonstration, And what you want to be watching is the latitudes here and the world time shifting in here. So if I just shift that like that, you can see the world time is moving. If I go further down like that, the world time is really shifting around there, and this is now the new longitude, and then you've got the latitude. So you can see that that is the equator there where the red is. And then let's go down, see if I can get to a south of equator. So that is now in, where is that now? Hong Kong. Then we've got Japan. We're going to be hitting Australia in a minute. There it goes. We're in Australia. Where's that? Adelaide. I'm looking there. Sorry for the glare, but it is there. And now it's gone to the south of the equator like that. And if you continue, you can just see every time I do an adjustment to the city code, it's going to make adjustment. I'm coming up to the dot now, and it's just going to shoot past that, the custom setting. And now we're going over to the other side, so we're more into the red. Look at that. So at the moment there's no date adjustment, so the latitude hand hasn't had to go into a spin like that. So what should we have as the new world city time? Let's choose New York. So next is the daylight saving times. You can change this as well. Short press on button B will show the daylight saving time using the latitude hand. Press and hold button B for 2 seconds to select daylight saving time setting. Repeat to choose another daylight saving time setting. And let's just do that. Let's give you a demonstration. So that's on New York. Pressing button B there once will show me that it is on auto. And pressing that for a few seconds, adjusts. That's now put it onto standard. So it's basically off. Give it another few seconds. Now that's on daylight saving time forced on. Then it goes back, and then pressing again. Just going to give it another 2 seconds, and then it's back to daylight saving auto. And then just a short press just to give you an idea of what you have displayed. Now there is location information here, which is the P and N, and then press button A to see if there is location information available. So P is available and N is not available. So back in here, back into focus. Pressing the UTC button A there, and the latitude hand will point all the way down there. You saw it go there, look, keep an eye on it, and there it does there, and the minute hand is obscuring there. Thank you very much. And this is basically just to give you a repeat here of what the longitude and the latitude hand here. And there it shows you that that is the first position pulled out. So what do we have next? We have the world time hand swap. And I need to stretch my legs for a second. World time hand swap. Let me just read through all of this and you can really understand it. So using a selected world time in the watch to swap as your new home time. In home time, long press on button B, the light button, for 3 seconds. A beep will sound and the main hand swap. The second hand points to the new home time WorldTime CityCode. Pressing button D will show the second hand point to N. This will update to Y if the CityCode has a multiband 6 sync connection or when connected to your phone, which must match the location. Okay, note, making a time sync T without being in that time zone will fail. So I won't be able to do sort of as much as I can do if I was in that home, if I was in that city code, well, the WorldTime CityCode. At the moment, I have the watch set in New York City. My home time is in London. Crown is fully pushed in, so I'm in home time. Pressing button B, the backlight, the light will come on, keep it held, makes a chirp. Then the second hand moves to New York City. Now the main hands have gone to New York City and the world time is now my London time. And then when I press button D here, because I haven't had an update, the second hand's just going to point to no. But if I went to New York right now by magic and then I had a sync, a multi-band sync, then that would make a correction and go to yes. Well, I'm hoping that you're following all of that. So just to show you that I did put a little diagram in there to show you how it works before the swap, like that, and then after the swap. And you can take your time just to look at that. So if I wanted to swap back, so I'm in New York now, I'm enjoying the New York time. Now I'm back in London and I want some London time as my home time. So making sure the crown is fully pushed in there, and then it's a 3-second press on button B, and there the second hand goes to London and everything is adjusted. And there, back into time. It's that quick, really quick, isn't it? Right, moving on is number 17, and this is the mode. So the mode is stopwatch, timer and alarm, and I've already covered this before. Long press on button C while in any mode will double beep and return back to home time, and it does make a different tone of beeping. So let's give you a little demonstration. So pressing button D the once just goes into the mode. It's going to come up with stopwatch like so, and if I do a long press, makes a double chirp, makes a double beep. Let's stick with beeps, and then it goes back to home time. So what is the first one? The stopwatch, and this is a 24-hour stopwatch. So in home time, press button C, so it's just the one press of button C, and the longitude dial will move and show the STW. The WorldTime dial will zero out to the 12 o'clock position with the PM and AM dial also zeroed out, unless the stopwatch time is paused, so you might have been using it before. And then it's press button B to start and stop. There is no beep. When the stopwatch is stopped, pressing button D to reset. Note, stopwatch can be started before the hands settle. Stopwatch can also run in the background while in home time or any other mode. So I'm going to give you a demonstration of all of that now. So it's in home time, one press on button C there, goes straight to stopwatch, and then everything zeroes out. See, the second hand is now zeroed, and then the world time is hidden there, and that is ready to go. So start stop is button B, and as I mentioned, no beep, very stealthy. And that is now going to start and count for up to 24 hours if needed. There is no lap time. I've tried pushing button D, there isn't any. So start stop is with B, there it is stopped. Pressing button D just resets it like that. So if I come back out of that and go back into home time, so if I want to go into stopwatch and start it quickly, then it's just press the mode, then press B like that, and it starts already. Look, it's still adjusting, and that's already started. And if I come back out again, go into home time like that, just waiting for that all to settle so you know exactly where we are. It comes to a rest, so that is home time. Then by pressing button C there, going into the stopwatch there, and it's going to continue there like that. So let's stop the stopwatch and then reset like that. The next one I want to cover is the timer. So the timer is 24 hours like the stopwatch. In home time, press button C 2 times and the longitude dial will move and show TMR. The world time dial and PM and AM dial will show the last adjustment time or zero out. Press button B to start and stop like the stopwatch. Again, no beep. When timer is stopped, pressing button D to reset, and then it goes on to adjust timer. So let's just do that first part there. So this is in home time, 1, 2, and that goes to timer like that, and then the world time dial will reset. And at the moment I have that at 15 minutes. So when I press button B, it will go backwards like that. Again, there's no quick reset. You have to stop with button B and use button D to reset. But what you can do, if we go back into home time, just let that all settle, you can do a quick start without waiting for everything to come to a standing still. So it's 1, 2, press button B, and then that's straight away, look, still hacking back, and then it goes off. Now the alarm does go off for about sort of 10 seconds, and well, let's do a demonstration. Let me fast forward and show you what it looks like. So coming down to the last 10 seconds, all very stealthy. Here we go, almost there. And I must say, it is not the loudest of alarms. And I say you can just push sort of pretty much any button you like. I'll just push the UTC there. Next is adjusting the timer. Pull crown out to position 1 and turn the crown to adjust the world time dial, taking note that the PM and AM dial acts as 24 hours. If the crown is turned 3 times quickly, the time adjustment will turn automatically, and this works forward and reverse. Turning the crown again 3 times quickly will advance the time at a second faster speed. Advancing forward is faster than reverse. Turning the crown or pressing any button will stop the automatic advance. Once the time has been set, push the crown fully in and the timer can be started any time after. When timer sounds, press any button to turn off. The next time the watch is connected or synced to the phone, the timer adjustment will be updated to the app. Note, the timer can be started before the hands settle. Timer can also run in the background while in home time or in any other mode. So the timer can be actually running for you to set this. So that's now in countdown. If I pull the crown out to the first position, it would automatically reset the second hand to 12 o'clock, and now I can adjust the dial using the crown here, and I can go back and forth like that. And pay attention that this time it's going to be using the PM and AM dial here, so even if you think you've got it at 15 minutes, it could actually be 12 hours over. So you can go forward like that, and then also you can do the quick turn like this. And if you do another 3 turns quickly, it goes even faster. And I say any button or turning the crown will actually stop this. So that is now coming back to the 0 time. So if I just give that a little stop, and then I can just fine tune that back to 15 minutes, and then I can go back like that. And I say once you've got that set, you just push the crown in, and then it resets like that, and then you can start. So it's pretty much like it was at the beginning. Back in home time, giving it a couple of beeps like that on button C, and you can see that the timer is still counting backwards. You can also just stop it and reset like that. And then also you've got that fast, quick start as well from home time. So number 20 is the alarm. In home time, press button D 3 times and the longitude dial will move and show the ALM icon. World time dial and PM and AM dial moves to the last alarm time adjustment. The second hand will point to either on or off. Pressing button D will toggle the second hand to select either on or off, and then it goes into the adjustment side. So let's just do that side first. So this is in home time, so it's 1, 2, 3 presses on button C there, and then it selects the alarm, and then the alarm information comes up here. So at the moment the second hand is pointing off, and if I push button D, that just goes to on like that. So we just put that on off. So moving on, adjusting the alarm, pull crown to position 1 and turn the crown to adjust the world time dial, making note that the PM and AM dial acts as a 24 hours. So basically this is like the timer setting. If the crown is turned 3 times quickly, the time adjustment will turn automatically forward or reverse. Turning the crown again 3 times quickly will advance the time at a second faster speed. And it's all the same as the timer. Advance forward is faster than in reverse. Turning the crown or pressing any button will stop the automatic advance. When setting the alarm, by pulling the crown out, the second hand will automatically select on. Press button D to select second hand to off if you do not require the alarm to sound, so have that to mind. When alarm sounds, press any button to turn off. The next time the watch is connected to the phone, the alarm adjustment will be updated to the app. And here there's a little tip I put. Using the city code next to where the on off is located, on is upon CityCode Rio and off is upon CityCode of Fen. So how I've done it with my dyslexic brain, I've used the O in Rio as on and one of the F's in Fen as off. So let's just give you a little demonstration there, get some focus. You can see the city codes here. Look, there is Rio and there is Fen, and that is off because it's on the F, and then the O there is on the on. So that might help some of you there because it's very fine print on the dial. So at the moment I know that's pointing to Fen and that is off. So maybe a little tip for you. So let's adjust the alarm. As soon as I pull the crown to the first position, the second hand will go straight to on like that. So it's gone to Rio, and then like the timer, it's just turning the crown, and you can adjust very fine, or you can do those 3 clicks like that. And if you do it again, it goes even faster like that. I've never pushed the crown in when it's doing something like that. Shall we have a look, see what happens? Let's see what happens at 6 there, just after 6:30. I've just pushed the crown in, and that has actually set the alarm. Look at that. So if I pulled that out to the position 1, I know I'm going off track here a little bit, but I was just a little bit curious of what would happen. So you can push the crown in and it will set it like that. Anyway, so that is on Rio, and then on Fen it is off. So hang on, let's push that crown back in because it won't work. And then I can do that. That's it. Button D doesn't work when it's in first position. There you go. So it's another little thing I've just found out for you to save you the hassle. So once you have the alarm set, you just push that in and that's ready to go. In this case, I do not want that going off, so I'm going to turn that off, and then pressing button C the once, it just goes back to home time like that. So after the alarm is number 21 finally, the Bluetooth connection. And this is first time connected. So what you need to do is download the G-Shock connected app for Android or iOS, and there it is there. And this is very important. Make sure you have selected the correct city code in the watch for your time zone and that the battery is not on L. Otherwise the connection may fail. So I just want to show you what the icon looks like. It looks like that one there, G-Shock, and look what I have done. Look what I've spoiled you with. I have put everything you need to know in the app. Now this is not just basic, this is going into detail. Now I'm not going to go any further there because I'm going to get you well too excited, I think. Anyway, let's just start off here. So number 1, open G-Shock connected app and select the Gravitymaster, and I've even put a little ring there so you know which one to go for. Then press button C for 2.5 seconds, this is on the watch, and the second hand spins to the 12 o'clock position and then points to C with a double beep, and then you release, and this will make the connection here on the app. And then tap on the display window, register the watch to the app, second hand rotates fully back to C, so you register the watch to the app like that. And then you'll have the G-Shock icon spins, and once connected, registration was successful is displayed. So let's give you a live demonstration here. So let's open up the app, and I'm running on Android by the way, and then you'll have this display like that, and pretty close to the top you have the Gravitymaster GPW-2000. You tap on that and there I have it all there. Look, you can see. And so what happens, it swaps between information and then it tells you about the 2-second press like that. Register app. And now its registration was successful. Did you see that? Rotate 360 and then back to C. Let's show you what I have on the next screen here. The screen will now display the watch with the battery level at the top corner like that. Information: in some areas and countries the GPS may be subject to regulations, so tap on the X and go back. And I'm just going to tap on the X. Next one is the main page is shown like this. Battery level is always shown while connected, so bear that to mind. Let's just see what the phone looks like. That is the main display like that. You have the phone there, and then it comes down here and it has a little toolbar here. Just to give you an idea, let's go on to the next one. It says swipe right or tap on guide and then tap on view guide, and there I've put at the bottom with a little circle there, it's got view guide, and there is the view guide there, number 22, and that's 1 of 4, so it will show you the world time, stopwatch, the timer and the alarm. So let me take you to my phone. I'm hoping all this is going to work out okay. So I could just tap on guide like that, then tap on view guide, and there it comes on like this. See, I've got that duplicated like that, and at the top here you've got the world time, stopwatch, timer and alarm, and then it shows you all the information all the buttons can do, and it also highlights on the display of showing you what each does. So that's the world time, and just give you an example, there is the stopwatch. We go to the timer, you can see the little red bit just added there. If I go to alarm, you can see all the things changing. Really good. To come out of that, it's just pressing the arrow like that. So the next one is number 23, and this is the world time, 300 cities in the app, and this is plus. So tap or scroll to the world time and tap on the world time window, and this is i.e. New York. Look, I've got it written all there, and the map is shown. From here you can search or pinch to find a new world time, and then tapping on any city will show informations including daylight saving time. Press set this city to the watch, and it's like that, and then I'm gonna shift past that one because I will come back to you. There's the world time as I mentioned. It's like that. At the moment it's on New York City, and it's the only one that's red, so that's what you tap on, and then it comes up like that, doing the same on there, so you're following. So I went from there, tapped on the red, and then I went to that part there, and then I can scroll around, or you can go on the search here. You even have a little bit of information here that can scroll down, and then you can just hold the side here and look for whatever you want. So I want to keep it to the instructions, and I've got Cape Town, so I can actually just tap on the search bar like that, keyboard comes up, and I can just put in, I think as soon as I put Cape, I think it's going to come up. There it is, Cape Town. Tap on that, and then it comes up like so, matching the instructions. And then it's got the auto here. If you tap on that, you have some options. You can have it auto on or off. So I'm just going to cancel that because it's already on auto, and there it's giving you the date, and that I can send to the watch. So let's send that to the watch because it goes on to the next screen there, and seeing you that it is still connected. While it's connected, the second hand remains on C. So let's set that to the watch, and then it does a little bit of animation. See where it is now, it's on New York City. There is the time. Then the map moves, and now it goes to the Cape Town like that, and then it shows that Cape Town is my new home city or world time city, and I've still got London as my home time like that. And this has swapped, and I did this all out of shot because I have to turn this back and go the other way, so I thought I'll show it the other way around, because when I come here, there it is, that's the window it came up, then returns back to the main world time display, now showing your new world time city, i.e. Cape Town. And there it is, I've shown you that. You can tap on the double arrows to swap the world time to the home time, and there I've actually put the little circle there to show you. The screen will display an animation of the time swapping to the new home time, i.e. Cape Town. Moving on, and it says tapping on send setting to watch, the new home time city will be transferred to the watch, and then the second hand rotates. So let's just do this animation part here first. So let's bring the phone into play. Now if I push the arrow in the middle there, I'll do that behind the camera, and you can see the animation, it swaps, and then it does the hand like that, and then it does that, and then that's ready to go. So let's get the watch in view, and then when I press that, you watch what happens on the watch. That goes around like that, makes the connection, world time adjusts, and then the home time is adjusted. Should I just do that again? So it's very quick, isn't it? And then it does the swap, and then you've got the animation there. So what you see on the watch, on the device there, will be on the watch. You see that? So I'm just going to tap that, and you see that do that. It does all the moving, and now that is matching. Look at that. That is really, really good, isn't it? So to just do that, back again. Or I could do a long press on the light button if I wanted to. But I find this is really good. You can have so much fun, couldn't you? You could just have that somewhere on display and just keep pressing that. That would really confuse someone. Anyway, let's move on to further on. So tapping on center watch, we've done that, and then I said here it's repeat from step 19 to swap back to the home city, which we've just done that. Next is number 24. I've done it like this so it can guide you along. Tap or swipe to utility showing alarm and timer, and then tap on the alarm. It's written here with off. And let me show you how that works. Just tap on utility, or you can swipe. Let's give you a little demonstration. So you can swipe like that. Trying my hardest behind this viewfinder, and then you have it like that. So the alarm is off. As you can see, the timer is on 15 minutes because once it's connected to the app, it will update any information in the watch. And as mentioned, it does do that vice versa. Anyway, let's go to the alarm. At the moment that is off. Let's tap on that, and then it comes up with this here. And it always starts off with 000. It's showing off, and then you have a toggle here. Nothing at the bottom. But as soon as I toggle that, it brings up the hours and the minutes, and then straight away it comes up with send to watch. So let's put a time in. And I want to keep it the same as I've got in my instruction manual so you can really follow this smoothly. So for some reason I chose 1945. Oh, hang on, let's go back. Once that is set, you have the center watch. Let's get the watch in play so you can see what happens when it's transferred. Because the second hand will do a 360. There it is, 360. And then it comes up with setting is complete, and then press OK. So let's have a look at what instructions I've done for this. So I've opened up the app. There it is there with off, and then it's tap on the slide tab to set a new alarm. There, I put it on there with the round circle. Let's go next. Use the scroll wheels to adjust the hours and minutes. And then note the alarm is switched on as soon as the adjustments are made. And in this case, as soon as you turn that on, it brings up the toolbar there. Just set the time here. I've done it at 1945. Press send setting to watch. Once transferred, setting completed is shown, and then tap OK like I did. And then the screen returns showing the alarm time. When alarm time is shown, the alarm status is on. You see the time there. You know the alarm is set, like on there. So if you tapped on the alarm there and then turned it off, let's send that to the watch. And setting is complete. Press OK. And if I hit the arrow button there and go back, now you can see that when there's no time, it just comes up with off. Okay, next one is tap on timer. Adjustment window for the hours and minutes will be displayed. Let's do it this way around. Again, like on the alarm, when the dials are adjusted, the red tab at the bottom here, send setting to watch, will be displayed. Press arrow to exit without saving, or press send to watch. So at any time you can go back with the arrow up the top there. Once transfer is completed to the watch, setting completed is shown. And then you press OK like that. So let's go into the timer and show you how I've adjusted that. Now I put 1 hour and 30 minutes. So just nice and easy. You just tap on the timer. It comes up like this. So let's just type that to the 1. You can scroll like this to the 30. So once that's adjusted like that, and now I can press send to watch. Let's get the watch back in. It's something to look at. And then I can just press like that, 360, and then that is adjusted. And then just press OK. And then I can go back with the arrow, and it's like that. Now the timer is set at 1 hour and 30. Note, the timer is set to the watch and does not automatically start the timer. This has to be started from the watch. So I thought that was quite important, because you might set that and think, well, the timer's going and I don't need to do anything else. So there you go. Mr. Rangeman has covered that for you as well. So the next one I want to cover is the flight log. Now this is brilliant. And let me sort of explain through this first, then give you a live demonstration, I guess. You press button D for half a second, and this is on the watch, performs a time location memo in the app. The phone can be on standby, then press OK. This is when it's open, just to show you. So on the actual display here, it will show you the last point, and the last point is displayed showing your coordinates with the date and time. This will be your last point up here, and then you have tap on all point at the bottom and to see the details. Let's do a little demonstration here. Let's get the phone out here, and that is going back to the flight log here, and that's what you would have. Well, so far I haven't used it so far, so let's get the watch and let's do a flight log. So what I need to do is come out of the app. So just pressing any button. Let's just get out of that, and then the display comes up like this. And just to note that the battery icon is now gone at the top corner, just to show you that is no longer connected. Now pressing button D for a half a second, waiting for it to go to C like that. And then that's going to make a registration like that. And say this can be in standby, and there it comes up, the watch time has been adjusted and point memo performed. So if I just turn that into sleep mode, so let's do that again. So 2.5 second press, it's on C. Usually takes about 5 to 10 seconds, and there it's come up with yes, and then it's connected and it goes to the city code, which is London, and then it will adjust your latitude and longitude like that. And you can just press button D again and just return back to home time like that. Before everything settles down, I can do another one by pressing that for the half a second. It will make another connection, and because I want to show you something a bit later. So that is now connected and done like that. So let's have a look at the next stage. So this will always indicate your last point, and it will give you your date and your coordinate there, and it has a little bit of animation. And then you can go to all points, and here you'll have your points here. So it's basically like a timestamp as well, and then you can tap on the map and you can see it bigger like that. So let's give you a demonstration. There you go, big map, that's where I am, and you've got some coordinates down there, and then just pressing the arrow takes you back like that. So let's go into the manual here and see what I've actually put here. So the screen displays all your flight log details, and you can also create a group and add flight logs to it. So let's have a quick look at that. And at the very top you have single, which I'm on now, and then you can go into group. So if I tap on group like that, a group has not been set. If I go down the bottom, it has that little cross there, and because I've only got the 2 selected, I can, well, only 2 to choose from, I can just tap on each one like that, and then I can press done, and then that says please enter a title. So title is at the top, and then let's just put something like this, whoop, because I can't really see much behind the viewfinder, and then I can just press done, and that's it, that is done. So that's my group. And what happens if you watch my ultimate GPS video, I do test the Gravitymaster out, and I actually did try this out, so you can have a look at that video, and it's towards the end where I put it all together. The next one I want to show you on here is how to delete them. So here you can delete the flight logs. So tap on the delete on there and top right corner, and then you'll have the map that comes up, and you can just select on the top corner there's a little box, and you need to tick that, and then it comes up with the window will be displayed. Do you want to delete the data? Press delete like this. Is probably why no one's actually done this tutorial, because it's so long. And there at the top corners you have that, so let's just delete that one for an example. As soon as you press that, you can go to the bottom and then press delete. Then it comes up, delete group data. Okay, yes, I just want to get rid of that. And now it's down to single. Then I can press cancel. And my group is now down to 1, and also my singles down to 1. Anyway, you've got the idea. So scrolling down, next is number 26, and this is the settings, and these are settings you can adjust in the actual app. So tap on the settings icon at the top, which is indicated with this gear in the top right hand corner, to open more features. And this is when you're connected to the watch. Then tap on GPW-2000, which is there. And then here you can adjust more features. This is also where you can disconnect from the app. There, I've put a little circle there. So let's get into the app. So let's do a 2.5 second press on button C there. Get it onto C. And then once connected, you watch the second hand. It does a 360 when it's connected, like that, bang. And then connection is completed. Just to check that the battery icon is at the top there, that's connected. So if I tapped on the settings, then tapped onto the GPW-2000, now I have this, and there is the disconnect at the bottom. You can also tap here and you can rename your Gravitymaster if you wanted to, but in this case I'm not going to do this. So you have two sides, you have the app side and you have the watch side. The first side in the app is the usage of the flight log. So just to open that, and that's just to give you a little demonstration of how it works. That's all that does. It's just like a little view guide. Then you have next is the unit setting. Here you can choose kilometers or miles. Let's get that, come back out of that. Sorry if the camera's going in and out. It's because I've got quite a smeary display, I think. Anyway, so this is operating checkout of auto time adjustment functions. So let's have a look at that. So you can be notified once a week and turn that off or on, and that's it. That's all you have on the app. Now on the actual watch, you have the set the operation sound. So if you want the beeps, you can have that on or off. Let's go back. You can set the time for connecting to this app. At the moment I've got this on 5 minutes, so if I did nothing for 5 minutes with the app, then that would automatically just turn off and just cut the Bluetooth connection. So there you can have it up to 3, 5 or 10 minutes. Then you have the time adjustment here. Go in here, so you can have it if you want the automatic time adjustment through Bluetooth. If you don't, if you're quite happy with GPS and the multiband 6, then you can just turn the Bluetooth side off here. And then you've got adjusting home positions, and this is all to do with the calibration side. You just pick one of these numbers which is indicated to one of these dials here. Let's just pick number 9 there, and it comes up like that, and then it's making a watch hand calibration, so it's just checking what I have on the watch, and then using these two here I can calibrate it. And like we did when I went through the 5-stage setting here, and I'm not going to touch anything because I'm happy with it. But if you want to do it through the app, you can do. I prefer to do it manually because you can actually see what's going on the watch, and it's more sort of pretty hands-on then. And then you've got summertime setting for home time, like that. If you don't want to mess around with that, there's my home time London, and then if you tap on auto, you can have on or off, and then you can send that to the watch. When disconnected, the battery icon will no longer longer be displayed at the top there. So that's quite handy to know. I've really sort of pretty much covered this. Number 27 is delete the pairing. Tap on the setting icon in the top right hand corner, and this is when you're not connected to the watch, and then tap on GPW-2000 on there, and then tap on delete pairing registration here right at the bottom, and then once you tap on that it will delete. So let's just give you a little demonstration. So the watch is still connected, so let's disconnect it by pressing any button. Then it comes up like that. Then press the setting key, then you have the GPW at the top there, and then you see I can change the things in the app, but where on the watch it's now like that in a darker shade of grey. And then here you've got delete pairing registration. So if I just tap on that and then press OK, that is now deleted and it's off the app, and then it just goes back to whatever setting I have. At the moment I have the Mudmaster on there. So that's how you delete the pairing. I hope you found the Bluetooth side really easy to follow, and I would guess that you probably don't need my voice behind it, but I know what's coming next. It's number 28, and this is a big one really. This is adjusting home time and the date manually. Now it's broken down into one of 6 parts, and don't worry, I have everything covered, so it's really sort of hopefully enjoyable as well. And first part of 1, this is adjusting the time and date manually, and this is 5 stages. So this is minutes, hour, year, month and date. And the first one is fine hour minute adjustments. So what you do, you pull the crown to position 2, turn crown to select your home city code with the second hand. Unless your city code is 15 or 30 minutes difference, then you skip to 6 or 6. Now, I would continue watching all of this video, then it will all make sense. And then you can press button B to adjust the daylight saving time. Once the city code and daylight saving time has been set, press button C for 10 seconds till the second hand moves to the RC and then points to the 12 o'clock position with a double beep, and then release button C. Then let's have a look, because there's only best way to find out is actually giving you a visual. So that's in home time, pulling the crown out first position and then second position. And here if I turn the crown I can adjust the second hand to point to my city code. Being that I'm in London, I will select London like so. Now pressing button B will show me my daylight saving time. At the moment it's on auto. For those who don't know how to adjust it, you press for 2 seconds and then it will change over. There's 3 options. So at the moment that is on standard, which is off. Pressing again for a few seconds goes to daylight saving forced on, and then pressing again it goes back to auto. And if I press button A, the UTC button, just the once, it gives me a little glimpse of the P and N status. So I want to adjust the time, so it's pressing button C for 10 seconds. Here we go. It goes to RC first. Keep it held in, then the second hand will go to 12, and then that's ready. Like so. I can move on to the next stage here. So ignore the 1A here for the moment, because this is related to the 6 of 6 part. So let's just carry on. So turn crown to adjust time at 1 minute increasements. Turn in the minute and hour hand. Turn crown to advance clockwise or counterclockwise, and then it's the same as what it is in the timer and the alarm, where you can turn the crown 3 clicks quickly for automatic advance, and then turn again 3 turns quickly to advance faster, and then you can turn the crown or press any button to stop the automatic movement. So let me show you what's happening. I've got a cuckoo in the background, so that's quite time related, isn't it? So let's turn the crown. You can see that the minute hand will advance like that very slowly, and you can go backwards like this, and say I can with a 3 turn of the crown. Let's see if I can do this behind the viewfinder. There it is, moving at that speed, and if I was to repeat that with another 3 turns, it moves even faster. And say any button or just turning the crown will stop this. I'm just going to use the UTC button and then stop there. And I say it can go backwards as well. So you just try and set this up. See, you can go, and that's the fast as it can go backwards, just to let you know. Pressing any button or just turning the crown or just stop it like that. So let's go on to the next part, 2 of 6, hour hand adjustment. So you press button C and the hour hand will move slightly, just to indicate that's what needs to be moved. Then turn crown to adjust hour, turn crown to advance clockwise or counterclockwise, and again you can do the quick 3-click advancements with the automatic, so I don't need to repeat that. So from here, once the time is set and fine-tuned like that, pressing button C, you'll watch the hour hand. The hour hand does a little move like this, and now you can move the hour hand at 1 hour intervals like that, or you can go faster like that, you see. And of course the 24-hour hand moved as well. You saw it, it's actually gone past. So let's just go back a bit there, see if I can get it to go auto. There it goes, like that. It's quite slow, isn't it? Going to use button C here to stop that. So let's go on to the next one, 3 of 6. You got year, starts from 2000 and going up to 2099. You press button C and the hands now move to the date setting. Turn crown to advance the minute hand. Turn again 3 clicks quickly to automatic advance. Turn crown or press any button to stop the automatic advance. The same as before. I'm sort of repeating myself, but it sort of gets you into your system. And it's using the 12 to 9 hour markers as years. So as an example here, so 12, that will equal 2000, year 2000. 1 will be 2001, and so on till 2009 is indicated by 9. Once the minute hand moves over the 9, then the hour hand will advance. Hour hand counts every 10 years. Keep going, keep following this, it will make sense. For the hour hand, example 12 will equal 2000. Then 1 will be 2010, and so on till number 9 is 2090. So using the 12 to 9 hour markers as 10 years. So here's the example. So if the time was set at 2:05, that would equal at 2021. So down here, the hour hand is on 2, so that's year, so that's 2020. And then on the 5 minutes here with the minute hand, this would be pointing to 1. So that's 2021. Yeah, you've got it. So let's have a look and see what it looks like. So pressing button C now, the hands will adjust, and as you can see, it's 2:05. And here, if I turn the crown, I can advance the minute hand. So that's 2000. Let's go back. I did jump myself a little bit fast there. So that's 2021, 2022, and so on. And you get the point, don't you? So if I went backwards, if I went back to 12, that would automatically jump back to 9. And then it's 2000. So that's 2019 at the moment, because that's on the 9. And then when I move that forward, that's 2020 and 2021. There you go. So really easy to use. Right, so let's go to the next one. I've done the drawings here as well. Continue to the next stage, which is the month, which is 4 of 6. And here, 4 of 6, the month. Press button C. Again, it's always the button C to move on to the next stage. And the second hand rotates. Turning the crown will advance the second hand either clockwise or counterclockwise at 1 hour increments. Each hour marker equals to 1 month, beginning with December being the 12th and the 1st is January and the 9th being September. You can follow what's happening. Let's get into the watch and show you how that works. So at the moment, let's adjust the date back, because we are on 2021. So that's the year set. Then press C. That rotates the second hand, which is your month. So at the moment, that was on April. So that'll be April, May, June, July, August, September. Well, you get the idea. So that's how it jumps. Look, it's very cool to see. And now that is the date. So 2021, and it's on the month of April. So looking on here, continue to the next stage, which will be the date, and this is 5 of 6. Here we go, date. Press button C and the latitude hand will move slightly. Turn crown once either clockwise or counterclockwise to advance the date. Once the last stage is completed, pushing the crown fully in will start the time from 0 seconds. So that's how you calibrate it. And just to note down here, if the crown is not pushed back in, then pressing button C will cycle through the 5 stages again. So let me show you what the date looks like. Going back here, so I've got the year all set and the month. Pressing button C makes a little wiggle. You saw that on the latitude. And here, if I move the crown now, just going forwards, it will rotate, and that will now go to the 15th. And you pretty much have to wait for it to settle. And there it is, it's quite quick. And if I click one back, then it rotates. And you can see how slow that is. And it's almost there, and it's back on the 14th. Just a couple more turns. Just bear with me. Almost there. I'll say it's probably best to keep going forwards with this. I don't know why the motor's so slow going backwards. Maybe someone would know that. So now scrolling down, I want to cover the 6 of 6, the adjustment just in time and date manually using Custom CityCode. And this is a 5 stage, so it's again minutes, hour, year, month and date. So you pull the crown to position 2. Press button C for 1 second and the second hand points to the Custom CityCode. Then you can turn the crown to adjust the time to 15-minute increasements. Pressing button B to adjust your daylight saving time setting. Once time and daylight saving time is set, press button C 10 seconds till the second hand moves to RC and then points to 12 o'clock position with a double beep, then release button C. And that's where I come up here, because then you can go now continue to stage 1A. So let's quickly just do this part here. So I'm in home time like this. I pull the crown out to the second position. Now if I push button C here, give it a little chirp, and now that goes to the little dot. Now when I turn the crown now, it's going to move the time 15-minute increasements like that. So that is how you adjust it if you're in one of those zones where you have the 15 minutes and the half an hour like that. So once you have that set, you press button C now, 10 seconds. There it goes. Then I release. Now that's ready to be adjusted. Now when I turn the crown, that's just going to move the minute hand like that. Now that's the time for the minutes. Pressing that, it does the hour. That would do the year. And that would do the month. And then watch the latitude. And that does the date. So once happy, you just push the crown back in and then the seconds will start ticking straight from 12. You watch. Bang. And there it is, and that's all calibrated, manually calibrated. I have a special one here. This is a Watch Up 69 top tip. Now this is useful when the main hands obscure the WorldTime Sub-dial. So if you want to manually set the timer or the alarm, the hour hand and minute hand are sitting right on the sub-dial of the WorldTime, then there is no feature of no long press of actually shifting the hands. But there is a way, if you don't need the WorldTime or the WorldTime shown as a WorldTime, you could actually use it as a hand shifter. So let me sort of explain. So adjust the custom WorldTime CityCode, setting the hour and minute hand to be set at 45-degree offset to your current time, for example. Then a long press on button B in the home time will shift the hands away from the WorldTime dial. And then a long press on button B will return back to the home time setting. So let me give you an example. We're in home time. You can see that the minute hand is now coming down to obscure that WorldTime. So if I pull the crown out to the first position, we're in WorldTime, and then press button C the once, I now can shift to the dot. And here it's very fine and very, very covered as well by the minute hand. I have the time back there. So if I just move that once, you can see that is moving like that. So if I did that as a 45 offset, so meaning if I did, say, the hour hand at the 12 o'clock position and also the minute hand at that position and set it like that. So we'll push the crown in. That is now my new home, well time set. It's pointless to me, but all I want it for is to move the minute hand and the hour hand away from that dial. So at the moment that's coming in. It's very annoying. Pressing the light button for a few seconds, and then that just moves the hour and minute hand away, and now I have a clear visibility of the dial. So now for an example, I can go into the timer. It's 2 taps like that. There is the timer, and there it is adjusting. Now I can pull the crown out to the first position, and now I can adjust. Nice and easy. So you got the idea, haven't you? So I just set that at 115 like that for an example. Push that back in, and I can start it like that. Then I can do the long press on the button C. That goes back to home time, like so. And then wait for that to rest, because the backlight won't work until that's rested, and then hit the backlight for those few seconds, or 3 seconds, and now the minute and hour hand adjust, and that goes back, and it's set like that. So now if I go back into the timer, you can see it's like that. Look at that, totally obscured down there, can't see anything now. So that is really handy. Now it doesn't work in the timer mode, the backlight. That's just start stop, so you have to come out and anyway, but you have luminous dials, so you can follow, and the second hand is pipped with lume. So that is the app. That is my instructions, and as always, that is the time. I hope you enjoyed my full tutorial. Wow, I think I'm gonna need a long sleep after this. As always, thanks for watching.